Now, I've never been as worried as I am now about whether or not my kids and grandkids will be able to carry on.
He said, I love you, Mr. Trump. I need to see the fruit of your love.
5 of my customers have committed. That's how serious that this is.
And what it costs for us to farm is astronomical now.
I farm with paid-for equipment. All my tractors are 50 years old, and I can't hardly make this deal work. I think the tariffs are the ice cream on the cake of a perfect storm.
After a horrible year last year where most farmers in Arkansas Delta lost money, this year's going to be worse.
We made the decision to go out this year in the spring. So my son will not be the seventh generation on our farm.
We're going to lose 25 or 30% of the farmers in this country if they don't do something. It has to be done, and it's not just here.
What we got for American farmers is zero empathy. We want them to fail. That's what you're saying out there. That's what Americans are saying right now is, well, next time you'll vote the right way, or that's what you get for who you voted for. That, to me, I want to say it doesn't sound very American of people, but here lately, that's all we're doing is complaining.
Okay, this is for MAGA supporting farmers, which is the most of them, the majority of them. This is not what's happening. If you pay attention to all your right-wing media, including Fox News, we on the left have been showing you empathy by trying to scream, this is happening. This is going to happen to farmers. We did it before you elected him, and we've been doing it after he was elected. I can't tell you how many videos I personally made after you elected Trump, where you are being destroyed. That's what empathy is. And it's not a lack of empathy when we just want to stay out of the way of letting the consequences of your actions take root. You're asking us as taxpayers to bail you out. We were bailing you out through U.S. aid and so many other Democratic funded programs. And we were happy to do that. We want those back. I don't see one MAGA supporter demanding that U.S. aid be funded again, because that's what kept a lot of you guys afloat. We on the left have been screaming for that. But if you want to talk about a lack of empathy, it's not going over our heads that you had no empathy whatsoever for our LGBTQ community and what was going to happen to them if you won your election. You had no empathy for transgender people, and those include kids with families who love themselves, each other, families, tight families, going through a hardship like you guys are as farmers. You didn't show empathy for them. You didn't show empathy for women who are being pushed now into this purity culture and this Charlie Kirk warped vision of making us just baby-making machines. You showed no empathy for brown-skinned people trying to earn a living, being thrown to the ground and beat up and kept in for-profit prisons that are benefiting Republican donors. You showed no empathy for any of them. But you're going to come on here and tell us we're the ones that don't show empathy. I want you to show one right-wing news source or content creators, Charlie Kirk, any of them, that have been talking the way we have about how farmers are being impacted by the Trump administration. Find one, and I will stand corrected. You're going to find nothing but those of us, the libtards, who've been fighting for your asses.
To all my farmer neighbors, you were warned over and over and over. We told you there was no drag queen story hour. There were no furries in our school using litter boxes. But you guys refused to call the superintendent of the schools like I did. I called Rolla Public Schools and asked Dr. Dare if there was any truth to that. He laughed and said maybe I was watching too much TV. We told you that China signed 20-year contracts with Brazil for soybeans. You laughed in our face. I'm not going to say I told you so, but I do not want to bail you out for the next 20 years, and I will fight against it. China signed 20-year contracts with Brazil for soybeans because of Donald J. Trump. They don't want our soybeans. They don't want our beef. They don't want our wheat. They don't want anything we grow. As far as we're concerned, China can stick it up our ass. And can you blame them? Can you really blame them?
Honestly, the truth is that we cannot blame them. Hey, beautiful people, welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for stopping by, supporting your girl on this channel. So credit goes to the creators in these videos. Guys, Arkansas has always been a farm country, right? Generations of families have worked raising crops, livestock, and they trusted that, eventually their hard work will secure their future. Now, when Trump came along, many of these farmers believed that, oh yeah, he was the one that would stand up for them, because obviously he spoke about putting American agriculture, first, putting America first, and making sure that, oh, these farmers will never be forgotten again. So his message to the farmers was clear, and they gave him their loyalty, guys. They gave him their vote. Reality, but now is sinking in, because prices of, for example, corn, soybeans, and other crops have been unstable. International buyers, for example, have turned somewhere else because of tariffs, because of trade wars, and these farm costs keep rising. They can't even maintain their farms anymore, and their profits are falling. Now, instead of the stable future that they thought they were going to have, they are facing loss after loss after loss, and their brands are not feeling, guys, because what looked before like a future that was bright is now looking like a bleak future. It's looking like something that is uncertain, guys. Arkansas farmers are learning that political promises don't always match up with real life in the fields. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, because those farmers are really finding out.
I actually really give a shit that the farmers are losing their farms. I do actually really care about that. But it's not because I care about those people who literally asked for that to happen when they voted for an administration that wrote down in detail how they were going to do that. I don't really care that they are losing the farms. I care about the farmers losing the farms because it is finally the last great transfer of land and property that these insane oligarch GOP nutcases have been trying to do for decades. This is going to be the last big transfer of property. It already happened with all of our single family homes, all of our real estate. That's all now owned by corporations. This is the same thing is now happening with the farms. This is our American farmland that is now going to be wholly owned by corporations. And Americans who once owned and worked those fields for generations, and I speak as someone who is the first generation in my family who did not grow up on a farm. We owned those fields, worked those fields for generations, and now they're going to be sharecroppers, essentially. They're sharecropping on their own land. I don't feel bad for the people. I feel bad that the farms are now going to be owned by corporations. Does that mean I lack empathy? No, I don't think that it does. I struggle to find empathy for someone who is handed a piece of paper that says, I will hit you in the face if you vote for me. They vote for them, and then they get hit in the face. I don't have empathy for that. I don't have empathy for you causing your own demise, even though all of the rest of us were telling you that's what was going to happen and even voted for that not to happen. We were trying to save your farms. That's what we were doing. You didn't believe the person who wrote down on the piece of paper, I'm about to absolutely ruin your life. You didn't believe them. You didn't learn the lesson that when someone tells you who they are, you should believe them. And then you didn't learn it when we said, hey, they're going to do this to you. You should probably not vote for that. You said, nah, racism, brown people, brown people. So no, I don't have any empathy for you. I have a lot of sadness, regret, and general angst about American farmland now being owned by corporations. That is execrable, and I'm really upset.
Democrats were right again, and it turns out the farmers of Iowa are completely shit out of luck, specifically because they voted for Trump, okay? Because his policies have double fucked them, okay? Starting with USAID. Now you might say, why would USAID be connected to the farmers of Iowa? Well, turns out that USAID was one of their most reliable customers. We were spending up to $2 billion every year buying soybeans from them and then shipping them overseas to feed poor, starving children. Until our Christian president got in office and he said, "What? We are sending food overseas to feed hungry children? For Christ's sake, shut that down immediately." Well, in doing that, they have now taken away the second largest, most reliable customer for these soybean farmers in Iowa. Now, who was their number one customer? Well, it used to be China. And up until recently, they were buying 60% of our soybean exports out of America. But Daddy Trump came in and jacked up these tariffs, started a trade war with China, and now these soybean farmers have lost their number one customer. So now these soy boys are sitting on a Scrooge McDuck level of soybeans with absolutely nobody to sell them to. And that is why they are begging Daddy Trump for a bailout and for him to cut the shit with China so we can get rid of these tariffs. You know, it's amazing. Trump supporters put him in office hoping that he would just ruin the lives of all the people who they hated. But they didn't realize that Trump isn't on their team. He's on Team Billionaire, not on Team Farmer or Team Trucker or Team Everyday American. He only cares about rich.
Time in my life farming that I still have crop in my bins that I can't sell. Basically, what we're getting out of a bushel of corn or a bushel of rice would be like you making $5 an hour and trying to pay your bills at home. Mexico and China are the two biggest rice buyers for the United. They buy more rice off of us than anyone. And when they stop buying rice, we have nowhere to go with the rice. It won't be a trickle-down effect. It will be like flushing a toilet if the ag industry collapses. Totally 100% dependent upon the Lord Jesus Christ. I surrender it to Him.
Now is the time to surrender to Lord Jesus Christ, because now they can say that they are surrendering to the Lord Jesus Christ. Because in the end, it's just showing how loyalty and faith can collide with harsh reality that is on ground. They gave their trust, they gave their votes, they gave their voices to Trump, and now their fields are telling in different stories because their silos are empty, their prices are falling, they are in debt. And this is just the real outcome of policies that was never built to protect them in the long haul. Because now they know how to gather in desperation, pleading with the politicians, pleading with Trump to rescue them, and praying to God for a miracle like it's just going to fall down from the sky. And this is the moment that everybody was warning them about long time ago. And they are learning that there is no campaign, no slogan, or no single leader that can shield them from the truth. And now their struggle is real, because these are farmers that once believed that they were secure under Trump's leadership. They once believed in him, believed his promises, ate it hook, line, and sinker. And now they are finding out that their trust did not protect their farms. Guys, I need to know your thoughts in the comment section, because the truth is that markets do not wait for campaign slogans, and debts do not wait. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear from you. And if you have found value in this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll definitely see you in my next video. Please stay safe. Mental health is important. Ciao.